Hello, everybody. Or I guess I should say not hello, everybody, but the second of today's reviews is going to be Rogue One, a Star Wars story. So can't find a place to set this down for some reason. Okay, so I have my notes here to give it like an analysis as normal. I don't know why I have to say that every time, but just in case nobody else has viewed any of my past videos, I'd just like to start with that. So this movie starts out with a child running from a ship. Someone is coming for her and her family. They're trying to pack up to escape. The mother and child run while the father goes to meet who is after them. The mother and daughter separate once she gets the daughter far enough away from the situation. The mother gives daughter a necklace and tells her to trust in the Force. Galen, who is the father, talks to a man in white about the work they were doing that is installed that will bring peace. The father said he is confusing peace with terror. Galen says his mind isn't what it used to be, that he can't remember everything the way he used to, so he'll be useless. Lyra, who is his wife, ends up coming back. The man in white tells Lyra he is taking them all, including the child, and they will be heroes of the Empire. So as we know from previous films, obviously the Empire are the bad guys. Lyra is then killed. The man in white tells his men to find the child. The child is able to hide. And then, I'm assuming a couple days or something passes, and then all of a sudden this other man shows up and takes the child with him. So then we go to, obviously, years later. I don't think they ever specified how many years later in the film. But this girl wakes up in a prison. We are in the Ring of Kafrene, trading outpost. Two men talk about this weapon being made, a so-called planet killer, as one of the men says that it's going to be a planet killer. One man kills two stormtroopers, and the other man that he was talking to, he then runs. And then we go to a defective Imperial pilot has been captured. We are now in Wobani, an Imperial labor camp. This group of people rescues this girl during her transport. Then we go to Yavin 4, the Rebel Alliance headquarters. So now that's where she's been taken. We find out her name is Jyn Erso. So this is the girl from the beginning scene. She's now all grown up, in case nobody was making that connection. I just thought I would specify that. They question Jyn about her father, Galen. They also ask her about a man named Saw Gerrera. Gerrera, I believe that's how it's pronounced. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing some of these names. Anyway, that would be the man who ended up coming to save her in the beginning of the film, after she'd been hiding for a couple of days. The Alliance says that Saw Gerrera is an extremist, and he has only caused problems for them. He is holding the defective Imperial pilot, and the Rebel Alliance believes that the pilot was sent by Galen to give plans to Gerrera about this weapon or planet killer. K2SO, who was another one of the important characters, he's an Imperial droid. Andor, who is one of the Alliance pilots, teams up with Jyn throughout the movie. He is ordered to, I thought, kill Gerrera, but I guess he was ordered to actually kill Galen. We find that out later. Booty Rook is the name of the defective Imperial pilot. He's questioned by Gerrera. Rook tells Gerrera that Galen sent him. Turns out... Oh, yes, tells him that Galen sent him, yeah. Then we go to Director Krennic talking to Tarnik. He is reminded of his failures, told he was the one that lost the pilot. He is told to test the weapon by Tarnik, and if he fails, he will be talking to someone far less patient, so we don't really know who that is yet. We just know that obviously there is somebody above Tarnik that nobody really wants to deal with, clearly. We then go to Jin having a flashback of her father and mother. Andor and Jin arrive at Jeddah. I believe that's how you pronounce the planet. Imperial forces are extracting crystals for the weapon that Jin's father is building. Guerrera doesn't believe the defective Imperial pilot and is using a mind-reading alien on him to get the thoughts out of him. Then we go to this man waving Jin over, asks her what she knows about the crystals. She tells him her father told her they were used to power lightsabers. He tells her that even the brightest stars have Kyber crystals, I believe is what they were called in the film, in them. Andor tells her they have to go, that the men are guardians of the wills and they only cause trouble. They are the protectors of the Kyber temple. Then a battle between Guerrera's rebels and the Imperial troops breaks out. Jin and Andor are caught in the middle of it. The Guardians of the Wills end up saving Jin and Andor from being captured by Imperial troops. Then Guerrera's men show up and take Jin and Andor as their prisoners, basically. And the Guardians of the Wills. Jin tries to tell them that anyone who hurts her or her friends will have to answer to Guerrera, because she is the daughter of Galen Erso. So they lock up everyone except for Jin, who was taken straight to Guerrera. We find out that Guerrera left Jin to fend for herself when she was younger, due to the people beginning to find out who she was. Jin tells Guerrera that the Alliance wants her father, and that they think he's being sent a message about the weapon, so meaning Guerrera has been sent a message about the weapon from her father Galen. We then go to Krennic and Tarnik talking. They mention the Emperor and Lord Vader, so that's the first mention of Vader. Then the weapon is aimed at Jeddah City. Andor asks Rook, who is the pilot, where Galen Erso is. Guerrera shows Jin a message from her father a message from her father. In this message, Galen tells Jin that he stalled the project for as long as he could and put a hidden defect in the reactor of the Death Star, as he calls it, and tells her how to destroy it. The Death Star then strikes Jeddah City. Guerrera ends up sacrificing himself due to how much he knows, and everybody else makes it out alive just as the city is swallowed. Then we go back to Tarnik telling Krennic that he will be taking over the control of the Death Star. Krennic kind of tries to still control everything, even though he's really not in control by this point. Then we go to Andor, who is told to set a course for Edu, which is where Jin's father is. Booty, yep. Is that how you pronounce it? Is it Booty or Bodhi? It might be Bodhi. Anyhow, so Bodhi tells Jin that he is the pilot that her father sent. Jeez. Jin tells Andor of the trap her father has rigged inside the Death Star. Jin tells him that if they can blow up the reactor, they can destroy the Death Star. Krennic is also headed for Edu now. Krennic arrives and tells Galen to gather his engineers. He then starts saying to the engineers that one of them has betrayed the Empire, sending messages to the rebellion. So the Alliance, they call themselves the Rebel Alliance, in case nobody knew that. When Krennic yells fire, Galen steps in the way, revealing that it was him, not anybody else. Krennic kills them anyway, despite what Galen has said. K2SO, the droid, then warns Andor there's an Alliance squadron approaching. During this time, Andor had told Jin to stay in the ship, that he was going to go take a look, but really he was there to obviously kill Galen, as we know from earlier. So then K2SO warns Andor there's an Alliance squadron approaching. Andor tells K2SO to tell them to hold off the attack, that Jin is on the platform, but it's too late. They're already engaged. Jin calls for her father. A missile hits the platform. Everyone is thrown in a different direction. Krennic escapes. Galen dies in Jin's arms without being able to tell her everything he wanted to. Luckily, they get out safely. Everybody, Jin, Andor, and the Guardians of the Wills. Then when they're back on the ship, Jin confronts Andor of why he went out alone. There's a big argument. Then finally we get a shot of Darth Vader. He's being told of Krennic's arrival. There's a big discussion between them. I won't give too much away. But Vader tells Krennic he better make sure that Galen made the Death Star without any flaws. The Alliance discusses what they should do. Jin tells them they must get the plans to the Death Star so they are able to destroy it. Unfortunately, she doesn't get the full support of the Council, so they can't follow through with that plan. So Andor tells Jin that he will go with her with a small group of people in order to get the plans. Bodhi tells the flight control that his call sign is Rogue One, so they are able to leave. They then go to Scarif, to the Imperial Security Complex. That's where Bodhi thinks the plans most likely are, in the Citadel Tower. Krennic then arrives on Scarif as well. Andor, Jin, and K2SO are able to make it into the Citadel. Krennic orders for Galen's files to be inspected, obviously trying to find out where a flaw might be in the Death Star. Andor tells force they brought with him to set off explosions. Then a battle starts out on the beach. Tarnik begins his course for Scarif. Obviously, he's in the Death Star already. The Alliance is told of the rebels. Oh, yes. So we go back to the Alliance, like the main Alliance. They are told of the rebels that have gone off onto Scarif alone. So then everybody follows them into battle. Bodhi tries to throw the Empire off by telling them he's on a different landing pad than he actually is. The Alliance arrives at Scarif. So there's two battles going on now, one on land and one in the sky. K2SO tells Andor and Jin someone will have to take the shield gate down so they can transmit the plans. Jin finds the file named Stardust, which was a name that her father gave her when she was a child. That's what he used to call her, his Stardust. So then K2SO ends up dying due to the fact that there's just so many stormtroopers coming into the room. He ends up getting killed. The Alliance is able to turn on the Master Switch, luckily. It wasn't really the Alliance themselves, but it was actually the Guardians of the Wills. One of them was able to turn it on. Bodhi is able to make it through to up to the rest of the Alliance in the sky. Unfortunately, he ends up dying as well. Then the Alliance forces on the beach are killed, including the Guardians of the Wills as well as Bodhi. The Alliance is able to break the shield by literally pushing one of the Imperial destroyers into the other one. And then they just collapse into the shield. So the plans, Jin is able to transmit the files. Andor then shoots Krennic after it looked like Andor might be dead. Tarnik arrives at Scarif with the Death Star. He then fires the Death Star at Scarif. The Alliance jumps to hyperspace, so they're able to get away. Jin and Andor end up dying on the beach as well because they can't make it off in time after the Death Star's been fired upon them. The Alliance receives the plans. They begin to leave the last ship, only to be greeted by Vader. Vader starts just massacring all of them. Some of them are able to luckily make it off of the ship onto an escape pod. They get to a new ship, and then the transmission is given to Leia. So we all know what happens from there, because this was kind of like the prequel to the I guess the fourth, fifth, and sixth movie technically, because Darth Vader isn't even. I was going to say the prequel to the prequels, but that wouldn't be right. So yeah, this was actually probably one of my more favorite Star Wars movies. Definitely a 10 out of 10 for this one as a rating. The story was really well done. It just definitely jumps you pretty much right into the action right from the beginning. There is no boring part to the story. All the characters you really feel for, I guess. Definitely on the Alliance side, at least, for sure. Because we kind of get like an in-depth. We kind of get their background story, at least. Oops, did that unplug? No. Okay, good. We definitely get their background story, so that's good, because a lot of movies that are just side projects don't really usually have a great story to them, but this one did it right. So yeah, 10 out of 10 on this movie. Definitely would recommend, if you're not a big fan of like the main Star Wars story, to just go and watch this one and the Han Solo one, which I will review later. But I think that's about all I have to say about this film. I didn't have any complaints on it, so please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye for now.